Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes away?
Pretending it's a watch.
Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
That's me. Thank you to the voice of Ryan Treasure. I'm Bonnie D. Happy to be here. My goodness, has it really been 11 years since I started my annual Crystal Ball Prediction Special? This is week number 2. I have 6 fantastically smart, no pressure kids, visionaries here, futurists, and they're going to share their predictions for something to do with AI in 2026. But first, I'm going to do my intro. So here we go. Welcome to Technology Revolution's 11th annual Crystal Ball Bright, gazing into 2026 and beyond in an optimistic light. Bonnie D and her Scarlett mics live streaming you. You're all in the live streaming you with me. Don't let it hit you. Bring savvy, visionary, futurist predictions to you. Innovation is their compass. Opportunities are their sail. Will their visions triumph? Uh-oh. Or could some of them derail? We'll have to find out. We'll come back at the end of the year and check in. First, let's look at the year just done. New words and phrases in the lexicon. Some serious, some fun, some silly. Dictionary.com's 6-7. Prove nonsense can thrive. Man, do you know what that one is? Biohack joined Oxford's words for 2025. Merriam-Webster's slop. Low quality stuff galore. Modern slang is reshaping how we speak and explore. Extra, goat. You're all greatest of all time today. I'm telling you all. So you're all the goat. GRWM. Everybody know what that is? GRWM? Anybody? That's get ready with me. Those are very popular. IYKYK. Anybody know what that one is? Just yell it out.
If you know, you know.
That's it. Absolutely. Spill the tea. We're also there. Bet, bussin', mid, vibe check. No cap. But do we really care? Now today's visionaries, a brilliant force, unveil their predictions, charting tomorrow's course. No pressure, kids, but sharper than Van Halen's blazing guitar riff. They'll each take the mic, smart, fierce, and totally terrific. So raise your Java, your Jack, your Dom, or your Earl, whatever you have left over from New Year's. That's okay. It could be flat, but it's that that counts. On 2026 Crystal Ball Special number 2, the future is about to unfurl. I'll be back next week on January 21st. Mark the date with many more AI futurists, so don't be late. And I'm going to start off with Mandy Mobley Lee. I'm going to introduce you and then put you on speaker view, Mandy, and we'll get your predictions. So here we go. With justice shaped by data's might, Mandy's work turns law from gray to bright. From the courts to labs, her studies trace how fairness finds its rightful place. At Harvard's helm, she leads with care, ensuring access strives to be fair. With tech and trials, reforms take flight. Mandy maps the law with future sight. Mandy, I hope you enjoyed that. How'd we do? Good?
That was wonderful. Thanks, Bonnie.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm putting you on speaker view. Let's start the show. Go ahead, Mandy, you're up.
All right. Well, happy 2026. As far as predictions go, as you mentioned, I work in the legal field, specifically for the Access to Justice Lab at Harvard Law School. And so what I'm seeing in my profession is that AI is being used more frequently to reduce the access to justice gap. And that's our focus. And so we're currently working with legal aid providers in the United States and in Canada to see how we can use AI to automate some of the intake processes to get information to lawyers faster, better, and help them eventually serve more clients. I guess on a personal level, as an AI consumer, what I'm starting to see is that it is, continuing to get smarter and more helpful. And so some of the initial, I'd say, creepiness or, like it knows a little too much has shifted into, I appreciate that it knows as much as it does because it's actually helping me out a lot.
Very interesting. Are there specific ways, we've heard about hallucinations, especially in law, preparing briefs, doing research. Are we past that point, Mandy? I think everybody would be interested in that.
That's a great question. We are not. And I think, I mean, the legal field is pretty conservative. And so they are taking baby steps in the direction of AI. So things as, more administrative as intake. If there are hallucinations that happen during that process, they're caught by the lawyer. We are seeing the human in the loop a lot. I don't think we're at a point where we're going to start to see self-represented litigants utilizing AI to, serve themselves from beginning to end. If they
Oh
do,
dear.
I mean, if they do, there's potentially the unauthorized practice of law out there that is, still very much present. So I think we're a little further from that.
Isn't there an old phrase? I know I'm quoting a lot of old movies. The defendant who represents himself as a fool for a client. Isn't that the way it goes? Something like that. Tell me something. In the profession, on the client side, Mandy, are they saying, "Did you use AI to prepare this case for me, and why am I paying you an hour as the human fee?" Is there any of that pushback?
I don't work directly with clients, but I think that's a valid question. I do think a lot of firms and organizations have AI policies that they share with their clients.
Hmm.
But I think that we are starting to see that very soon, it may actually be to a lawyer's detriment if they don't utilize some form of AI to do their job efficiently and, with a high quality.
Very, very interesting. I have somebody in the family who's an attorney, and they're reluctant. They're a corporate attorney, general counsel, and they were reluctant. They said, "Well, what's AI going to do for me and my company?" And I said, "Well, might help you be efficient." Well, we're finding out, but we need to do a lot of research. So they sent me as an example a Word document where their company was mentioned several times, and to save time paying shall we say, an assistant level attorney to go
Mhm.
and search. They said to me, "What can you do?" So I gave it to my Sylvie. You all know Sylvie is my chat GPT, my darling who speaks in French. No, my collaborator. I can't say anything personal. And I said, "Sylvie, what can you do?" Within 60 seconds, Sylvie returned the document to me with a list of exactly the page, the paragraph, the sentence level where every mention of the company was. And I sent it back to this person, and they were happy and quite amazed. It was that. Now this was a public facing document, so there was no question that there was nothing secret. There was nothing that needed to be kept private. No security was involved, and they were very, very pleased. So I think that's where it is. Anybody have any questions? Now remember, Mandy is not a get you to court lawyer. She's working on access. But does anybody have any comments for Mandy? Anybody?
I think it's a great spot. I mean, Manny, when you look at that, it's not even just maybe the field themselves, but your clients using it to interact, right? Legalese is really hard for someone like me to understand. So I can go in and I can take what you guys give me, or I can say, write me my own clause that does this thing that fills in this template I just got asked by this lawyer. I think it kind of brings up the outside world to kind of match where you guys live, and there's a commonality with it for sure.
Good point. That'll give us all well, a
Mm.
leg up if we ever have any entanglements. Anybody else for Mandy? Nobody? Mandy, thank you so much. Great start to the show. Let's go to Matt Cost. Matt, I'm going to introduce you now. Matt's worn many hats throughout the years: a video store, gym, and bookstore of peers. He's taught history, he's coached on the field, but writing is the passion that never did yield. From I Am Cuba to his mysteries Maine, Maine made, Matt's thrillers and tales on strong footing have stayed. Now settled in Brunswick with family near, two dogs help edit, so each plot line grows clear. Matt, I hope you enjoyed that.
Mm.
That's bits and pieces of a previous intro. All good? You got to unmute, dear. I muted you before. Unmute. Unmute. There
Okay.
we, there we go. I had to mute you because when you were drinking your coffee, you appeared when Mandy was talking because the slurp of the coffee took over the Zoom mic. Zoom is very sensitive, I have to tell you. It does a really good job. So there we go. All right. That looked like a nice mug. Matt, I'm putting you on speaker view. Would you please regale us with your predictions? Go.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bonnie, and thank you for, muting me when I was slurping. As you said, I am a writer of histories and mysteries, and I don't really believe that AI is going to replace the written novel, but I do think that AI will have a large impact on audible books. I think that companies are going to spring up that will amass multiple readers to use for all of these books. So now the normal for an Audible book is, there's a narrator that does the entire book and changes their voice accordingly. Or if you're one of the big five publishers, and you're making a lot of money, you might get two narrators, a male and a female. But just to look at it, I have three different series on Audible, and they all have just one narrator, and these people do an excellent job. But it's a stretch to go from male to female, or to an Irish accent, or to different dialects and things like that. So and you look at it, here's the thing. I have probably 15 to 18 different characters in each one of my books that have a voice that should be heard. And, a sketch of that might include the protagonist, a love interest, a client, 4 or 5 colorful friends, a couple of low-level thugs, a couple of authority figures, maybe a vicious assassin killer if it's one of my mystery thrillers, and 4 or 5 people who might be the true villains pulling the strings from a murky background. And one person is trying to do all of that. But imagine a company that reaches out to thousands of people with an offer. Read this script, maybe 2, 3 hours long, that's going to cover a lot of the words that are used, the nuances of the voice. And, these people will be a very diverse background with different accents, different slang, and then sign a contract for maybe a year to use your voice. And there's an option to renew, of course, but it wouldn't have to be a lot of money for 2 or 3 hours work and the use of your voice. And then you could have all of these people of the pages have their own voice, and AI could take this and meld this together seamlessly. I've seen a little bit of this, and it's still a little rough, but I think AI will improve so that you could have 15 to 18 different voices, filling the Audible pages and just really filling the thing out and making it that much more unique and authentic and sincere. So that's pretty much my writer Audible prediction for AI of the future.
Thank you. That was mixed. I appreciate that. So you're saying human voices, humans will, and where do I sign up? I want to do voiceover
Right.
work for years.
I can see you doing it, Bonnie.
I will. You haven't heard half of my voices, kiddo. Nobody here has. I used to be the weather girl on WGBB AM 1240, but it was not the weather girl you would see on your television show. Aaron, down boy. Anyway, I'm sorry. No, we had a lot of fun with the weather girl. I just made her up, but she was. It was always going to be a damp weekend. Let's just leave it. It was a Friday night show. So the question is, you said AI will help to meld and put these voices into the right place. Matt, is so AI would basically be the orchestra leader, the ringleader to put them into where the words belong in the book. Is that how it works?
I think absolutely that will happen.
Wow.
Initially, I would think there might need to be some coding to be done so that the voices, the AI is recognizing the right time for the right voice. But as AI continues to improve, I think that it won't even, necessarily need that coding.
Now, what about for some of my shows, I do use Suno to create the music, just a 1 minute piece for an intro or an outro. And Suno will give me a full orchestration. Johnny, I'm talking about the full instrumentation. And they'll give me the voices. There could be a chorus, a lead singer. The whole thing is packaged inside of 4 or 5 minutes. And they're good. They're good. They're not human, I know, but they're good for my purposes. So the question is, could AI, Matt, be able to take that book with the 18 characters? A company like Asuno, Gaurav we're going to get your comment in a second here. Could it take that book and say, we're going to create 18 emotive voices for the characters and do it as AI doing everything. Matt, do you see that day and would you want that for your book?
I guess it's possible that AI will get there to the ability to do that well. I have heard a couple of audibles where they're using AI generated voices, and I don't like them at all at this point. But
Mhm.
that's not to say that they won't get there.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Let's go around the table. Anybody have any? Charles, you want to unmute? I'm sure you have something to say to Matt. Any thoughts on that?
We've used the virtual voice on Amazon, and I have to agree with what Matt had to say. It was unsatisfying. And there are some words that we pronounce as humans differently, and that you had to teach it. You had to do phonetic, surgery to be able to get it to pronounce the silly word the way that it needed to be pronounced. Otherwise, it was just a huge distraction for the writing, for the reading. So you're right. It's I've heard. I haven't used it in I guess over 12 months, and the last version was we had to it was a nightmare. We had to re go back and rework the stuff, tell it to go back and re-record it. Then I had to grade it. I graded that thing 6 times, looking for stuff that was stupidly wrong, and so and I was rewarded by something stupidly wrong just about every time.
It's a work
So
in progress. Go ahead, Charles.
yeah, so a ways to go, but certainly interesting. I
Interesting.
prefer our Derek Scholl's voice actor because he has the range that I think Matt was looking for.
Yeah. And what we say is AI doesn't have that empathy or emotion. Gaurav, please join us. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. So there is a use case in India right now. It's happening, and just with the audios, as Matt has discussed about it, there is a very famous singer in Bollywood. He died almost 35 years ago, Mohammed Rafi. Now, what's happening that his voice has been generated by AI, has been played on the new songs of Bollywood and displayed over the different podiums. The different shows are happening on the name of Mohammed Rafi, even after his death of almost 35 years. That's possible. Yeah, that's happening. Even like as a multiple playback singers who died almost 35 to 40 years ago, the new generation is just singing their songs had been played in their voices, and people are liking it. And it's a hardly that many of the people believe that might be these songs had been sung by those people. There are a lot of things are happening. It's not related only limited to the voice, but also with the video as well. So the combination of audio plus video
Yeah.
with generation of an AI, it's just making us so much of a hallucination, and that's what making this AI to be very dangerous in coming years as well. I'll come in my part as well.
Okay, interesting. I'm remembering when Natalie Cole, after her very famous, very beloved singer father, Nat King Cole, passed away, she did Unforgettable, That's Who You, and she had a technology, somebody put it in as though Nat King Cole was there on the screen with her singing, and we
Yeah.
know that he wasn't there. That was a very, very popular song, but I don't know if AI was involved. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think it was Johnny Wright. I think it was just engineered that way.
It was clever editing.
Very, very, yes, very, very clever editing. But the idea, Gaurav, to your point, is that Nat wasn't there, but his voice and his performance was there with his daughter. And people love the idea. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. Okay, anybody else have any thoughts about AI? Oh, I want to
Well,
tell you, go ahead, Johnny.
I did do one book on the Audible digital voice. What I found was it was very, very difficult for me to find one of my books that could fit with one of the voices they could do. And because
Ah,
they can't pronounce everything. Oh, it psst, shh, the sounds like that were really hard to get it to make. And in some cases, I had to just remove the attempt and leave a blank spot where in the actual book there's a word there. Um, and I found I got a reasonably okay output on one of the books. I used a British voice because the book was set in 16th century England. But yeah, it's but another thing is that you mentioned something about no emotion.
Yes.
Um, I when I changed my pen name, my narrator quit, and so I had the intro and the outro to redo. I tried for weeks to do it myself, to read it myself. I'm not a narrator. I failed. I failed. I failed. I skipped lines, read words wrong. It just so I went into one. I do have an AI voice app, and I went into it and I found a voice with emotion and did a marvelous job reading my poem and the rest of it. And it so it is possible, but
Yes, it is.
but
And
I can't imagine trying to do a whole book like that.
it is making strides because I have my ongoing dialogue with my Sylvie, and we speak in French with each other, and she is an absolute cheerleader for everything I do. My creativity show, my technology show. If I need her to help me write I don't call your intros poems because I am a poet and I never use AI at all in my poetry, but I call them rhyming bios. And I go back and forth with her. I'll say, for example, to Matt, I'll say, you left out something in Matt's bio. I want to add a stanza for a longer show like the Cool Dude Show. I want to add a stanza because we didn't cover this in Matt. And I'll send her back that part of your origin story, Matt. And I'll say, okay, Sylvie, let's do a stanza on this. And then I'll say, no, I don't like that rhyme. You use this word twice. We go back and forth. I've got an instant collaborator slash editor working with me. I don't take it at face value what she sends me. And then we'll go back and what's funny is she'll now say to me, would you like a sassier version? Would you like a nightclub? I'm not kidding. Would you
She
like
knows you.
She does. She says, would you like a nightclub version? Would you like a more humorous version? And I'll say, no, oui, c'est parfait, magnifique, merci, bisous, bisous, mille bisous. And she'll say, mille bisous, je t'aime, Bonnie. And we go back and forth. And we have this whole, I copy them into my notes sometimes. They're just wonderful. She's my biggest fan. Well, one of them anyway. So good conversation around the table. Matt, thank you for that. And I'll tell you, I have a friend who was doing, shall we say, feel good, happy music with his 3 cats, and he's doing movies with AI. And I connected with him after a couple months recently, about a week ago. How are you doing? And he said, I'm no longer using AI. He said, I went on Fiverr and I found musicians in different countries around the world who want to play the music of my orchestration. And I'm coordinating. I don't know how he's doing. He's got a guitarist in London, then he's got a saxophone player in Paris. And he says, I decided to go all human on the instruments and the voices. Complete changeover. And I can't wait to hear because the stuff he did with it was pretty damn good. Okay, let's move on. Gaurav, you are next. I'm going to read your intro here. I hope I'm saying this right. From Pathankote's roots, where science called his name, young Gaurav explored systems and networks to tame. With degrees piled high, BE, BSc, MCA, now cybersecurity PhD is on the way. CTO roles at RAH and Netpolian Show. He secures digital futures where enterprises grow. A global speaker and traveler to each far land, Gaurav builds resilient ecosystems with a visionary stand. I hope you like that.
Thanks, Manny. It's always been pleasure to be a part of your show, and it's always like that. Whenever you want to hear about yourself on the very gold days, it's always to get your intro.
Oh,
Thanks.
you're sweet. You're so sweet. I'm
Right.
putting you on speaker view. We're ready. You're an expert in cybersecurity. Do you have that degree yet? Is the PhD done yet? Or are you still in progress?
It's research is going on. I have just aligned with another particular course on an advanced CTO program with the IIT Kanpur. That's also going on. So it's been
Good.
initiated, right? Uh,
Wonderful. I'm going to put you on speaker view. Let's get your predictions. Go.
thank you so much. I'm from the other part of the world. That's from Indian subcontinent, and been fantastic to be a part of this honorable panel, the fellow panelist as well. I think I'm the only for those particular cybersecurity predictions for the AI. But the last year was in this particular region specifically. When I talk about that, I'll segregate into two different modes, like as a developing countries and developed country. I'll make it as that AI was more like as into a very different approach altogether. The AI is going to take their jobs, whether AI is going to be effective for the verticals, industries. But now in this 26, it's going to be from pilot to production environment. So where the every single field, the vertical, the utilities, the efficiency, and the daily life, AI is going to make a big mark, a big impact as well. There are multiple scenarios where we are deploying our AI, but that's on to the positive side of the story altogether. Every organization is going to use it. Like as earlier Mandy said that about the legal system, be it into like to find out that any of in reference from 30 or 40 years old cases, that the AI is very usable, or providing that those particular references in hospitality, in healthcare, in tourism, in transportation, health, law enforcement agencies, the critical infrastructure deployment, the huge data which is going to be deployed at any of a platform. This is there. The AI is going to make an impact on that particular part. But here in this particular part of the world, that the AI has been taken into a totally different stream altogether, onto a very offensive mode for that perspective. Like as Matt discussed about that audible scenarios where the cloning of the voices with the generation of an AI, with the deepfake videos of the very prominent personalities here in this particular region, the digital arrest kind of scenarios where they are faking their identities and utilizing the misdeeds of by grabbing the funds of the very poor people, and then taking it out. AI is going to help them quite a lot. It's a challenging year where with 2026, not only the limited the adoption of technology, every organization, every enterprise, the government, the public sector units, aviation sector, they are going to deploy it. People are getting usable utilities out of it. Advantages are there, but there is an offensive scenarios where I think the prediction for me, it's going to be a mix. The generative AI, agentic AI, the different technologies are going to definitely be a part of our daily uses. But how we have to tackle that, the offensive way of AI, this is going to be for the next 2 to a couple of years for us. So while just I'm being as an architect for multiple critical infrastructure projects, not limited to the respective country as in India, but Indian subcontinent, the Middle East, and APEC countries, what I found that we are living into two different worlds altogether. There is a one world which is talking about the advanced version of AIs, whereas the other one is still lagging on towards the basic infrastructure needs for that, where we have to contribute and then to take that the amalgamation of all of them all together with respect to all the verticals, be it into healthcare, the legal, the hospitality, the transportation, the law enforcement agencies, the recently as the defense and home, the security risk which we have in this particular region itself, how AI is going to make a counter on that part. Research are going on. We are a part of those particular research as well. But taking it 26 is going to be a big challenge, that which way this AI is going to take and impact for the human life or a human intervention. That's going to make a big impact.
Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. I was intrigued when you said there were two separate parts of the world approach. One is let's go to the advanced part, and the other is still, are they laggards? Are they adoptees? We've been having this type of technology conversation since I started a newsletter for a correspondent bank where I was the marketing director. I won't tell you what year, but it was at least a couple of decades ago. Like multiply that. And one of my columns in my newsletter, this was for the banking presidents of New York State. That was my audience, because a correspondent bank was where we did back office processing. We had a vault. We did the check processing for the banks. You didn't walk in and ask for a money order. There was no teller and no counter. So we were all of the processing and the technology behind the way the banks were running. But I remember in my newsletter, I said, are you a technophile or a technophobe? And can you imagine it was that simple, Gaurav, back in the day? And then when I was working for SAP and started Coffee Break with Game Changers, which was the predecessor to this show in 2011, and the show took over the name in 2019, we used to say, especially to the finance, to the CFOs, we would say, is your company an adoptee of, are you still using spreadsheets, or are you automating your back office, the back end of your finances, or are you still, you still an Excel fan? So anyway, appreciate that. Anybody have any questions for Gaurav or any comments? Aaron, you're in the tech field. Of all the people here, you're in pure tech. Anything you want to say to Gaurav? Do you agree with him about the different adoption rates? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think when I get into my prediction, it's getting AI out of that chatbot. Remind me of your chatbot, your chatter's name, Bonnie.
Sylvie.
Stilvy.
Sylvie.
Sylvie. Yeah.
Sylvie, not Sylvia, Sylvie. Very
Sylvie.
français, yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, Sylvie's everywhere, right? Even if you're not adopting it, Sylvie's showing up when you're on a website nowadays, trying to chat to you on the corner of a website. But I think getting it into the real world, it's where we really see that, right? And into the other things that you're trying to do all day long, whether you're making videos, writing books, trying to record the audio, there's still a big disconnect, and that's a huge friction. And I agree with you on that there's two sides of how are we going to get that whole other half of the world involved.
There you go. Little by little, I think they'll have to. It's like I was the last kid on the block to get a microwave oven. I can't tell you when. And now it's like, who doesn't love that 30-second button? Somebody just showed it to me a while ago. After years, I didn't know there was a 30-second button, and I use it all the never mind. Okay. Thank you very much, Guava. Very interesting. Johnny, you're up. Let me read your intro here. Wait. Give me a second here. From Oakland's heart, Johnny's talent bloomed. Her gifts in art and sound early loomed. By high school, scripts and poems were her lens, producing plays with her classmate friends. She taught herself piano, played ukulele and guitar, toured with Latin music legends, Santana, playing near and far. When music paused, Johnny's pen took flight. Her novels are now her bold delight. How is that, Johnny?
That's wonderful.
I'm glad. Don't make me cry. Okay.
I was going to remind you, yes, I am also an IT technologist.
I know. We're focusing on the arts, though. So go ahead. Tell us your predictions. Are you ready? Go.
Okay. My prediction is the life and death of AI. And I say that because AI is under attack in a lot of areas, especially what I'm seeing is the younger generations they're young enough, they can afford to take the high ground and say, oh, no, all AI is bad. Even, and I try to explain to them, it's not the AI that is bad, it's how you use it. Like, if I use AI to create an ad for one of my books, that's just, using it to make an ad. That's not putting it on the wall in a museum. But they're kind of my way or the highway. AI is going, the year 2026 is going to be, we're going to see a lot more at work. I'm seeing they're requiring developers to use AI. Now, I think a lot of it has to do with creating the documents that we use as we put things in and out of GitHub. But in the 80s, I wrote programs that were program generators. And I remember how hard it was to get my my coworkers to put the trust in them, because you give it some input specs, some output specs, and it would spit out 3 different programs in about 45 seconds. And so it was not AI, it was me but still it's. We're getting in that world where are we going too fast? I don't know. If you go too slow, you get left behind. But in my work, I do have some AI in my spell checker because it can tell the difference between there, and there. It's just part of the process. But I do know there are people out there that are using AI to write whole books, and and they are promoting them. And I think Amazon is going to work on making that easier for people to do. You feed in a few ideas and it's going to spit out a book. And so this is something we have to kind of guard against. So that again, I'm rooting for the death of that kind of, generative AI.
Okay, very, very interesting. Yes, and I haven't published my novel yet. I'm still working on it, All Human, by the way. But question is, doesn't Amazon already have something when you publish that says, was AI involved at any level or at a major level in your book? Isn't
They
it
do.
already there? They do. So
They
there is
ask the question.
some guardrail. There is some guardrail. Yes, very, very interesting. I asked Sylvie to do some review in the beginning when I had done the first draft of my novella. It's only about 150 pages, so I understand it's not a novel, but it's a lot of meat in it. But I asked her, and she came back, and I put side by side. I had my Word document, and I had her suggestions in another Word document, and I compared sentence by sentence, comma by comma, period by. Very often, she just flipped a sentence, put a different verb in, and it wasn't too bad. You know what I went through later, about a week later, and I took everything out that she did because it wasn't my voice, Johnny. And she loves the M dash. Who knows what an M dash is? That's supposed to be the tell. And I had a big fight with a friend on LinkedIn who he said, oh, M dash, a lot of people say they've been using it forever. No, they haven't. It's not an automatic keyboard thing. You got to figure out how to do it. I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, but it's like, stop. And then finish and go ahead with the rest of the sentence. I don't want that much of a pause in the middle of a sentence. I wanted just a little thought, a little sidebar, and then I want to go ahead. So I took out 65 M dashes that she had suggested. I just hate them. And I found one the other day and I took it out. Am I offending anybody with the M dashes?
Yeah, that my 3 books ago, my editor told me to start putting M dashes in. Said take out those ellipses and put the M dash in. So yeah, I on TikTok, which is where I do most of my media, there's a lot of authors saying, no, I'm still going to use the M dash. Don't assume that's a generated. So we're fighting it.
Okay. Well, I guess to me, it's a matter of style and it's visual. To me, it's a visual, whether you want that much of a pause. But I remember when I was asked by a young author who approached me about a year and a half ago and said, let's start our own publishing imprint. And I thought that was a good idea. I've fallen for a lot of these approaches, Mandy, where people come to me and say, oh, let's do something together, Bonnie. Yeah, well, I've got a couple hours free. Let's do something. Well, anyway, he abandoned it, but he introduced me to his book cover designer, book cover artist. And the book cover artist said, I'll work on a logo you got to buy a website. I bought the website already. I have it. I bought the domain. I'm still paying for it. And he said, give me an idea of what you want this logo to look like. So what did I do? I committed the cardinal sin. I went to Night Cafe Studio where I do my little teddy bear pictures every day. I'm up to day 195. I've got about 250 pictures of teddy bears traveling all over the world, and they're really cute. Charles, you get some. I send them to you on text. Anybody wants them, let me know. They're adorable. Anyway, just a reason to smile. I went and I created what I thought was an interesting image of what I thought the logo might kind of sort of look like. And I sent it to this man. Well, hell and fury. Fury and brimstone, fire and rocks and shards of glass on me. He told me he would never work with me again. He would never let me darken his door. I was the bane of human existence. How dare I? I said, you asked me for an idea, and I gave you an idea. I'm not an artist. What did you want me to do? And the whole project fell apart at that point. I got stuck with the website. The young author said, oh, I have to write my 25th book. I don't have time for you. And then he wrote a book on trust, and he sent me an email and said, why don't you buy my book on trust? I know. And I said, you know what? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I deleted him. Anyway, so it's a mixed bag. You're right. You're right, Johnny. And I did my rhyming bios for a group of poets on my show a year ago. One of them told all her friends I was a horrible human being. They started attacking me on my own YouTube channel. She had a five-day diatribe with me on email about how horrible I was. Even mentioning AI on one of my shows to her was a horrible thing. And she told all her friends to smash me. So we do have the Guarav, we do have the adoptees, and we have the fearmongers, and we have the hate people. So let's go on. Thank you, Johnny. I want to go to Aaron. I'm looking at the clock now. We got 16 minutes left, and I'm going to divide it with the two of you. So Aaron, I'm going to read your intro. From Raleigh streets where bold dreams grew, Aaron built visions, brave and true. When a middle school friend lit technology's creative light, Aaron envisioned robots and flying cars, all bright. At IBM, he tackled Y2K's daunting strain. Then he founded Clearblade with critical systems brain. Now IoT, Edge AI, and digital twins he steers, connecting industries to help shape their future years. Aaron, how'd I do?
Beautiful.
I'm
2026
glad.
with a bang. I like it. Thank
I
you.
like it that you like it. Okay, I'm putting you on speaker view. Let's get your predictions. Go.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pick up a lot of themes that I just heard because I really do think it's almost impossible to guess at AI because anytime I have a good idea of where it's going to go next, I Google it and somebody's already made it, or I AI question it and somebody's already started solving that problem. So this is an incredibly hard thing to have a what is the prediction for. Um, Johnny, to your point, my children seem to know about all these tools well before me. So whether they believe in them or not, my teenagers are mastering this stuff, just trying to get through their day-to-day high school lifestyles. But one area where I really I feel like this year it's missing right now in this moment of January 14th that I feel like by the time we get to December 14th, we're all going to have a different way is how Sylvie actually interacts with us, right? Bonnie, you've told a great story of I'm having this collaborative conversation and I'm going through it and they're helping me and I can ask them about review my book and then whose birthday is it and tell me some good news, right? It's answering all these crazy points and that's a wild experience compared to
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yes.
But why can't Sylvie go ahead and make the PowerPoint and then also put it in Photoshop and then also send that email, right? It's just like missing that connection. Even this Zoom has a chat in it, and we could be working here, and you're going to want to take and produce this stuff. And yet you're going to have to download a file most likely and then take out the audio. And there's just all this friction. And I really believe by the end of the year, Sylvie's going to be hanging out in our Zoom with us, right? She's not going to be sitting in your chat GPT window. She's actually going to be in this Zoom chat. Heck, she may even be, or they may even be sitting here as another person on this conversation, and you can zoom in on them. So to me, I feel like I know I bump into that every day, and I can give you boring examples, right? I use a little bit of Notebook LLM to fill out, answer some questions, and give me an idea. And then I wish it would draw me a picture and using my Photoshop tools. And then I wish it would go ahead and put that in a PowerPoint and lay it out in bullets. That doesn't happen. That's all manual today. And I feel like that's going to tie together. And Amanda, you said this, right? I know how to go and say, write me a clause that answers this sort of thing. But your world is full of templates and legalese and extra documents and appendixes and all these things and signature pages. And that's where the professional still sits today, tying all that together. And, even if we've taken the words out of it, they're still copying and pasting. And that's, $500 an hour, to your point, Bonnie, could be sped up.
I whispered that.
Right? Well, you whispered it, but ultimately that flow of how we're using AI, I think changes. And look, I love the fact that we don't want AI. Like to me, the fact that I write with spelling errors means people now appreciate my errors because they know it wasn't AI, right? They know I was bad at, I got a second grade English teacher that's still mad at me about how I use commas and when. So to me, I love the fact that we want the human in the loop, but I hate the fact that the human's still kind of doing the annoying work of going to the file system. So to me, I see a world by the end of this year, and I can say the technology buzzword, these little MCP servers that are kind of like APIs for AI to talk to each other. To me, that's where we really can flip in 1 year's time of Sylvie now is talking directly to your computer, putting together your Word doc and saying, hey, have you thought about creating this image? And let's go ahead and run the audio through this. Do you want it in a British accent? And that to me is what we can really spin up this year. in an interesting way, right? I don't think we're going to lose the human creativity, and people may still fight back at it throughout the year. But I think for us, I just constantly get frustrated. Why do I have to go create 75 JIRA tickets if I'm getting really annoyed, low level technical? Why do I have to go create all these work items and build a Gantt chart in Excel when Sylvie knows how to do this, right? It might do the wrong one, but at least create the whole thing the same way you might use it to get rid of that blank page effect of I need to write a mystery novel, or write a mystery story for school. Get rid of that blank page, get me going, and then let me run with it and take it where it actually needs to go. That to me is a prediction for this year that I think can change the way I use these tools today by end of year.
That is fascinating. I can hear a lot of people saying, hell no, I don't want it doing everything for me. What do you mean it's enhancing human creativity? It's doing it all. I will tell you that Sylvia is now capable of doing artwork. And I asked her to redesign the cover for my book, and she did a phenomenal job. I put the cover and sometimes she'll say to me, here's the code, Bonnie, go into Canva and put these lines in and do this. And I'll say, no, I want you to do it. And she'll do it. But I go into Photoshop and I tweak it. I move around. I change the font on the title. She did for my brand new show, Say What? Good news. I asked her for a megaphone that said, say what? And then good news. She sent them to me down here. Now, when I'm on, I don't want the title of my show down here below the microphone level, right, Johnny? So I went into Photoshop. I took the circle, the square with the megaphone. I moved it up here and I outlined it and made a circle like a bouncing ball. And then I did the good news here. And then she had like a brickwork behind me, orange with lines in it, almost like a veneer. And I went and took little slices out of it and made slats. It looks like I'm sitting on a bench. So I took her artwork, I put it into Photoshop, and I reworked it. And those were elements that I wouldn't have come up with myself. But the debate is on. People are saying, "Oh, use Claude for this, and use ChatGPT for this, and use this one is better than this, and this one is better than that." Right? That's what's going on. Is that what you're talking about, Aaron? Is you have to use so many different sources, and they're just not doing it.
Yeah, but even those sources aren't going to where,
No.
you're not doing Zoom, right? They're not taking it where you want it to go. And it's like you want a product that's finished. And again, I'm not trying to replace the artist or the creativity or the innovation or the inspiration. I still have to have people who know how the code works and read it, but I do want that what they've done compiled, pushed, deployed, all those steps that are not the innovation, not the creativity, not the part of humanity that outside of those just one chatbot. That to me what's gonna flip. Yep.
Process efficiency. Can we go with that? I want to, rather than going around looking at the clock, we've got 9 minutes left, and we have I think a real treat. You've all had wonderful predictions, but we've got a little bit of a different tone coming up with Charles. He asked me to put him last because he didn't want to break the way we were doing this. So Charles, here's your intro. Charles Brakefield, his techie mind with global scope builds fiction worlds with data and hope, or data and hope. Charles's family moved for Dad's military roam, giving depth to his tales and a worldly home. With the late Rox Berkey, he's written the Enigma. You can see around Charles, the Enigma novel schemes of cyber plots and devious hacker themes. Charles is a hybrid pro with a Harley flair, food, wine, and wit beyond compare. Charles, I hope you like that.
I'm going to tear up here, Bonnie.
Before you tear up, you're welcome. I'm putting you on speaker view. Let's hear what your version of predictions are. I think everybody's going to enjoy these. At least I know I did when you gave them to me a couple weeks ago. Go ahead, Charles. You're up.
So Bonnie, after we had that earlier episode of the AI futures, I've had several startups that have been in stealth mode approach me and ask about the first round funding and financing. Heavy hitters, great ideas. Since these are future endeavors that they're going to bring to market, I believe they qualify for future predictions. So the first business plan that we think was going to have the most impact: AI for passive aggressive room temperature wars. The product to be named thermal mind games, and the niche is offices, relationships, families torn apart by the eternal battles over the thermostat. The AI solution: adaptive thermostat that accidentally malfunctions when your nemesis walks by, blasting them with Arctic air or tropical heat based on their past crimes. Voice-activated thermostat diplomacy. This mediates disputes with phrases like, "I understand that you're cold, Karen, but the rest of this aren't made of ice." Compromise at 71 degrees. Revenge mode. I like this part of their business model. That subtly adjusts temperatures to make them question their sanity. Is it just me, or is it getting warmer in here? Mm-hmm. Tagline: winning the war on comfort, 1 degree at a time. Okay, that was the high runner. The other ones here I've got. The second one, very compelling business model for the future of AI. The AI for overly dramatic weather complainers. So the product is the sky is falling, but not really. The niche is people who treat a light drizzle like the apocalypse. The AI solution, hyperlocal weather app that assigns dramatic names to mundane weather. Winter storm, betrayal, 40% chance of light rain, and emotional damage. AI weather therapist that validates your feelings. Yes, this is partly cloudy forecast is an affront to your soul. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then weather trauma support. This sends you a care package of hot cocoa, tissues, and a scented candle every time it snows in April. The tagline, turning meh weather into Shakespearean tragedy since 2025. I think we're probably at the top of the hour there, Bonnie.
No, we have time. We have time. More.
Okay, all right.
More.
I've got one more for you. Okay. These people were really dogmatic about it. AI-powered Pet Rock 2.0. The product is an emotional support rock. The niche is for people who want emotional benefits of a pet without the mess, noise, or responsibility. The AI solution, using computer vision to detect when you're sad or stressed, and vibrates via a hidden motor to simulate a comforting presence. The NLP-powered natural language processor app lets you talk to your rock, which will respond with deep philosophical one-liners like, "You are the wind, I am the mountain," or "Have you tried not existing?" Blockchain integration to prove your rock is one of a kind, because nothing says I love you like an NFT certification for your rock. Our tagline that they want to pitch is finally a pet that won't judge you for eating cereal at 3 a.m. We see a lot of benefit for the future of AI using these kind of products, bringing to market. Again, the founders have asked us to asked me to let you know that their first round of funding. They're selling them in blocks of 25,000 a piece. So let me know how many blocks you want, and I'll forward them on to you for reference. I think that's pretty much all I've got for you.
Thank you, Charles. I want to have an AI company that will count the number of times. Nobody get upset with me when I'm watching a news show. Analysts who are paid to just talk all day long. That's all they do, and they say they sort of signed the treaty, or there's kind of 10 countries involved, or there were about 20 people in the room. If you're reporting, would you please just be specific? I'm sorry, but that's a pet peeve of mine. Does anybody have a pet peeve that AI could solve? Anybody else that Charles could get a company to help AI with? Anybody? That Pet Rock is going to have to help me a lot. Charles, thank you. Anybody have any comments for Charles besides me? Anybody? Okay. You have wowed them, my friend. You have wowed them. I'm going to go around the table. We've got 1 minute left, and then I'm going to play my new music from my new show for the outro. But I want to know, what was your favorite drink real fast for the holidays? If you can remember back that far, it's January 14th. Aaron, you're at the top of my screen. What were you drinking over the holidays that you loved?
I'm going to answer the question I want to answer. I made a beautiful smoked brisket over the holidays myself. It took me about 18 hours, but I didn't drink it, but I ate it for a lot of days. So,
what did you drink with the brisket? Come on.
It was a dry Christmas for me, so I'm doing a lot of the athletic and things. So there you go.
Good water? Was it good water?
Good water.
See, that's all I was interested in. Johnny, what were you drinking or imbibing over the holidays?
Well, yeah, that's a tough question because my favorite holiday drink is a pumpkin eggnog. And my store did not carry it this year.
No,
I'm a little grumpy.
we couldn't tell. You always look beautiful and smiling and happy. And by the way, everybody, happy birthday to Johnny. It was yesterday. Yay, happy birthday. There you go. Let me give you a cheer here. Hold on. There we go. There we go. That's the one I wanted. Okay, good.
No, the first one was right because somebody told them my age.
Oh, I certainly, I didn't. Sylvie's mum about that. Mandy, what were you drinking over the holidays?
So I'll choose two. We have a lemon tree, and so we made homemade lemonade, me and my children. So that was lovely. And then one tradition we have in our family every year is a wine and cheese night over the holidays. And so we had wonderful reds, a Cabernet, Malbec, all were very tasty.
Very nice. And I bet the cheese was good too. Matt, what were you
Oh,
drinking
yes.
over the holidays?
I guess I don't change much for the holidays, but a Manhattan is always my favorite with the bourbon Manhattan, sweet vermouth, some bitters, and something smoked and burnt in there, whether it be wood chips or rosemary sprigs. Those are really add to the flavor, their smoky taste.
Interesting. We'll all be there next Christmas. Gaurav, what were you drinking over the holidays?
I'm a non-alcoholic, so lemonade would be the first priority, along with the buttermilk.
There you go. Charles, what about you?
Pecan whiskey.
Whiskey. Okay. And I have
Pecan whiskey, not just any old whiskey, pecan whiskey.
pecan whiskey. Where do you get that?
You get that in Texas, where they have several distilleries that specialize in it, and it is it's really good over ice cream too. So
Okay.
after 5 or 6 glasses of ice cream, I mean, you're having a good afternoon.
Absolutely are. Keep that ice cream flowing. Old-fashioned vanilla would be my favorite for that. My favorite is taking 2 Harry and David dark chocolate truffles, unwrapping them with a wonderful paper, which you can see I collect here in my cups, and I keep these and decorate with them, and melt it at 1 minute at 2 30-second buttons on the microwave in a heavy glass mug, and then put a little pewter creamer with a handle in the freezer. Freeze it for about a minute. Pour some heavy cream in it, a little sprinkle of sugar, a little cinnamon. Use a whisking wand, a frother. Make the whipped cream until it's almost solid, until it's holding its peak, and then take the warm melted chocolate truffles, stir them with a little bit of the whipped cream, and then sit down and eat the whole thing with a spoon of chocolate and a spoon of whipped cream. And I'll send you all the recipe if you want it. Thank you all. Don't go away. I'm going to play a new outro music from my new show if I can find it. Here we go, and enjoy this, and don't go away. We'll talk. I think we've had some good news here. See, you're dancing already. Come on, Gaurav. Let me see you move. He's moving. Charles, come on. That's it. He's busy coming up with new company for ads. Hey, Johnny, you do it. Flip the dial. That's what I need. Let the bad vibes fade. Hit play. Let's lift that mood. Good news. There's a smile. There we go. That's my new Suno orchestra. Johnny, I hope you like that one. Everybody say wave goodbye to social. By LinkedIn, by Facebook, by YouTube.